Right now it's 10:18. If you're watching on social media, hit the share button. I'm talking to Catherine Rudolph with Abundant Life. I'm going to kick this on the FM. We're going to be talking about some events that are coming up that you want to know about. Here we go. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. It's Kickstart. My name is Gardy, and I have a guest that's hanging out in studio. I'm going to let her introduce herself. We're going to find out about some really cool events that are coming up. How you doing?
I'm doing good. My name is Catherine Rudolph, and I work here at Abundant Life and also at Water Grove Event Venue, and we've got some things coming up that we wanted to tell everybody about today.
Yes. I know next week there's a really cool event, and I don't think I've been a part of one of these, maybe in a long time or maybe ever.
Yeah.
It's like a business, minister, spiritual type event, right?
Yeah, so it's for leadership, for either small business owners, for church leaders. That's kind of meshing the two worlds together there.
Right.
So we've got some ministers that will be speaking at it, and then also we're going to be interviewing some local business owners and leaders in the community that can just give some insight into what it means to be a leader in your community, to help grow business, and to also be a Christian leader, right? What that means and what it looks like to kind of meld the two together.
Yes, and I think that I wanted to say like it's like a cheat code, but it's whenever you go and have you're able to talk or listen to somebody who's done it, who's kind of where you would like to be.
Yeah,
it helps speed you up in process, right?
Absolutely, and it just gives you some good ideas. Sometimes we can get kind of a one-track mind, on whatever your business or your concept is. And so it's good to hear just other opinions and, like you said, people who have been somewhere, done something before, because it could spark something fresh for you also.
Mm-hmm. I saw a reel. It's on this Instagram that I follow called Business Insider. Do you know who Ty Lopez is? So he's just one of these people, like a self-help, like read a book every day kind of guy, right? So Tim Story will sometimes mention him and all that. But he was talking about Kylie Jenner and, her and her family and the Kardashians. You don't have to agree with anything or everything that they say. But he said, if
business people.
Exactly, yeah. Like her lip kits, makeups, and Kylie Cosmetics. He was like, just look at someone like that. You reverse engineer it. How did they get started? From the beginning. Right. Take out what you don't like. And if there's some nuggets in there that you can keep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't say that I really follow them, watch the shows and stuff, but they're geniuses at what they've done. I mean, my goodness, the world is watching at all times, Yes. So next week, March 22nd and 23rd, what is that going to look like and where are they being held? Yeah, so the first three sessions are at Water Grove Event Venue. So Tuesday at 10 and 7 and then Wednesday at 10. And there'll be, like I said, these local community leaders that will be there, some ministers that will be speaking and just giving different insights, different concepts, both from the business world and also on the spiritual side for people. There'll be some question and answer sessions. So if something gets sparked in the middle of one of those things, you can talk back and get some opinion and some feedback right there live on the spot. Your breakfast, we'll have a continental breakfast. Lunch will be covered for those day sessions if you come and attend them. And then on Wednesday, the final is going to be here at Abundant Life at 7 o'clock. And that's going to kind of unfold, I think, as those couple of days go on as far as all the details. And it'll be a great way to just close out and seal off everything that's been done so far. Sunday was a really cool time at Abundant Life. There was a celebration that took place. How did everything go from your perspective? It was really good. I mean, 37 years of ministry is a big deal. We're getting really close to that 40 mark, being in one place in the community and just seeing all the growth that's happened, not only in the church, but surrounding us in Lamarck and these other cities has been great to be a part of. And to hear stories from people on Sunday morning and then also interviewing our lead pastor Sunday night, just hearing the inception of the church and some of their highlights over the years that have happened here. It was just a really cool connect moment, I think, for everybody, whether you were online or live in the audience that was there to hear what was going on. What other questions do you think could have been asked? Or, coming from like a perspective of somebody in the audience, what questions do you think could have been asked? Well, I told Joshua when we were putting that list together, he's asking like, what was your favorite sermon? Yeah. What was the first guest speaker? Like who was the best one in your opinion? I'm with you. I'm in the same place as you are because I'm sitting there and I'm like, these questions are okay. Like they're okay. I was like, but they can be great. Who was the worst Exactly. 100%. Thank you. That's what I was saying. I turned around to Sergio and I was like, these questions, like, okay, they're okay. I was like, some of them, they kind of suck, if I'm being honest. But I was like, I was like, I know that's a loaded question, but I want to hear what your least favorite service was. Like, and why? Like, how did you fix it? Why was it the worst?
Yeah. What didn't go the way that you thought it would? You know, in ministry, in 37 years, you've experienced all kinds of different services.
Oh, yeah.
You bring someone in and they didn't do what you asked, and how do you handle that? Or I think of one service. It was a camp meeting, I believe, but the minister didn't show up till like 2 hours later.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's going on in our pastor's head? What's going on in our staff? In the back, and how do you manage that and handle a situation?
I know what was going on in my head.
Right.
I was thinking, where on earth are these people? Like, what happened? Why aren't they here? You almost in the moment you feel. From the church's perspective, you feel disrespected.
True.
Where were you? What happened?
Yeah.
And they didn't mean anything by it, like at all. It was whatever had come up. I don't even remember. But I remember talking to the worship leader at the time, and he said, man, I'd sung every song that I could think of. We had brought it up to praise, down to worship, to deep worship. We brought it back up to praise. He said, I was about to start singing Father Abraham and have people swinging their arms.
Does anybody have a song in the crowd? And you know what? People would get up there and probably have a song.
Oh, yeah. They would have.
So that's what was going through my head. I was like, I'm about to start texting questions. I don't know if these softballs, like, y'all are just running out, but like, those are the things that I think, or at least that I'm interested in knowing, and probably other people, because just in the crowd, those situations happen. How do you handle it and kind of move on?
Or if you have a speaker in the pulpit, you're trusting them. Right? Obviously you vetted the person, you know them, you follow their ministry, but in that moment, in that, 60 minutes or whatever that they have the mic, like, you are trusting them. So if they're a loose cannon, if something comes off that maybe isn't what you would have preferred to be said, like, what's the cleanup batter do for something like that? Yeah.
Yeah. And, and I think that, whenever you do talk to a minister, like before you go on, or like if Pastor Hallam's in the back, what are you doing back there with the minister? Yeah. Those are the kind of things that people are wondering, like, are you studying? You having that conversation? What are you talking about? There's different things that I think would really intrigue people in the audience.
It would. And it would probably, I don't know, it might even boost involvement and volunteerism, if because there is a little bit of skepticism, I guess. Like, if I get involved, like, what does that look like? How much time is involved? Who am I working with? Like, those kind of things. So that's a good round 2 to bring it back and ask some questions like that, I think.
Yeah. Like year 70, something like 37 years.
No, like if it's the whole month of celebration, it wouldn't be bad to have, like a second set. Because I really think we got a lot of good feedback off of that the church just like hearing from them. And especially Pastor Cindy, because she's hardly ever behind the pulpit. She's the quieter, of course, of the two. And so even to hear just the little bits that she talked about was really good, I think, for the church.
Mm-hmm. What did you think about Sunday morning? Because there were some people that I'm not sure that I had the opportunity to meet before, and there was one gentleman that said, I actually never got a chance to meet you, but he gave him the mic. He gave him the microphone. You don't know what they're going to say.
You don't. That
was interesting.
That was some old school boldness moves right there. I don't even know.
But it was cool. It was cool.
Yeah. It was really cool to hear just the different stories. And there were even people that came up after the service. Obviously I didn't have an opportunity. You couldn't get to everybody in the room, but this is what God told me. This is why I'm at the church. This was the moment when I came to a service and I really felt like God said, this is where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And those are great moments to hear. And I think for people to remember, because unless the question's prompted, it can become routine. This is my church, and so when you have to sit back and think about the why and what God did that impacted my life, why am I connected here? I think it just kind of restarts and can rekindle that relationship that you have with the local church.
Something else that was interesting and was almost reoccurring with multiple people was, I came here some years ago. Life happens. Maybe I went somewhere else. I moved, whatever.
Right.
But I came back because the church has been here for 37 years. Yes. And they kind of can remember, oh, wow, now I'm home, or this is why I'm here. This is why I'm supposed to be here. And maybe in the, I know, but we don't want this. If you do leave or you have to move or work takes you somewhere else, the church will be here, in 37 more years, you can come back and be home again.
Yeah. And I think it's good for our teams that work too, again, to be able to hear that. And even for the staff, to understand that, wow, what I did, it's that scripture that talks about planting seeds, right? And as you plant seeds, one waters, but it's God who gives the increase. And so you never know in that moment when you're speaking to someone. I shared with, our Easter production's coming up. And so I shared with the cast at our last big rehearsal that we had with everybody together that the following Sunday I was running check-in in the nursery, and there was a new family, so I'm signing in this family. So I asked them, how'd you hear about the church? And they said, we came to the Easter production. Well, it's been 3 years since we've done that. So I don't know which production they had come to,
right.
But I guess they had seen, that we were bringing it back this year, and they're like, hey, we're going to come check out church. And came to the church it's been at least 3 years, and came, and then they've come back, since then. And you know what? I actually talked to somebody else following them. It was the second check-in I did, and they were a new family and asked, like, how'd you hear about the church? And they said, we listen to KHEA every single day. And so thought, well, they're based, there out of the church, so we'll come check it out. So, you just never know.
I've met people like that before, too. It is cool. It's cool to see. And that it's working, that there are people out there that receive, and people that don't come to this church. Maybe they have a church, but they still are able to be ministered by KHEA and Abundant Life.
Yeah, pretty definitely.
Neat. Talking about Easter, so what's coming up, I guess, with Easter specifically, and then I know Road to Emmaus, our Easter play, is coming back, right?
Yes. So we are doing, of course, an Easter Sunday service on April 17th. It's at 10. And it's just going to be a beautiful service. The things that are in play for it are so great. So you got to come just to be part of that. And then our Easter production itself, like I said, for the first time now, be going on 3 years that we've just put it on pause because of pandemic and all kinds of stuff in the world. And so we've got 5 shows this year, April 9th and 10th, which is a Saturday, Sunday. And then the following weekend on Easter weekend, the 15th through the 17th. All shows are at 7. Everything's free to attend. And I'm starting at 6, 1 hour pre-show. We're going to have food, family activities. Our coffee shop, Jack's, where we serve Starbucks coffee and Big Train smoothies and all kind of stuff, will be open. So you can come straight from work. We're trying to make it easy for everybody. If you're picking up kids from, after school stuff or getting off of work, you can come straight in, grab something to eat, have some fun, some family time, and then head into the show at 7.
And this year, I think that it's a little bit different. It's been streamlined. Some things are changing. So if you've seen the show, 10 times, 12 times.
Totally different.
It's going to be different, right?
Totally different this year. Amazing cast. Lots of new people in the cast this year. The role of Jesus that's being played by Graco Contreras, who helps to lead some of the Concilion ministries here and has a lot of students under him. He's an amazing musician, singer. And, it takes your breath away whenever he's singing those roles, you know, and you're hearing that stuff played out and seeing it played out in front of you. And we can't forget the live animals.
Right.
You got to watch and make sure the donkey doesn't get your foot, watch the aisleway when he's coming down. But yeah, it's going to be a really great production this year.
So Graco, right? That's his name?
Yeah.
To pronounce it. So he was around the piano with some people and they were doing some warm-ups and I was walking in. I was like, my God, I haven't heard y'all people sing this loud in forever. I was like, can y'all be quiet? This is right in the door. But it sounded amazing. And then I went and sat at the back because I wasn't needed till 30 or 40 minutes later. And I'm eating chips. And I'm just like, man, y'all are singing loud. It is powerful, but it sounded really good. And their warm-ups and everything. So the music side is coming together and sounding awesome.
Oh, it sounds awesome. Yeah, the soloists, our company that's there is really, really good. You won't be disappointed with any of that. And then the last thing for Easter is our egg hunt. We do the big egg hunt every year. So it's not just getting the eggs. Of course, that's the thing. We've also got some bounce houses that are going to be out there, food trucks, pictures with the Easter bunny, just some fun things. It's only about an hour and a half, but you can pack it all in that time. And then the grand finale is when, of course, the helicopter drives over and drops the Easter eggs and the candy out of the helicopter. That's the thing that the kids love the most. So it's at 10 on April the 16th, right here at the church, out on our grounds, kind of in the back by the playgrounds and stuff.
And that was, last year was the smoothest that it's ever ran.
Yeah.
And so it's really almost down to a science with the staffing of it, and it's really well done. So I'm excited.
Yeah,
for it to get even better. It improves every year.
Yes, that's the goal.
So Easter's coming up. That's going to be You said it's April 17th. It's Easter Sunday, so make your plans. Come and join us at Abundant Life, and you can also go to alcc.org or follow Abundant Life Christian Center on Facebook. Stay up to date on all of those events we talked about, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
What's going on at Watergrove?
Man, at Watergrove, we have a smorgasbord of events going on. We've got the conference this week that's a 2-day event. We've been fortunate enough to connect with some medical people in the community, some local businesses that are going to be hosting some events there. We've got weddings coming up, sweet 16s, quinceañeras, all kinds of stuff that's going on at the venue. And what I love about Watergrove is that every event, the venue is very classically designed, and it's neutral enough that when you come in, you can customize it completely. And so every event, nothing looks the same. I mean, the building's there, but no event is equal. It's got its own fingerprint to it. And it's just fun to see all the creativity that comes in with the local vendors we work with, and also the individuals, the ideas that they have, where I'm just like, I mean, I'm pretty creative, on that end of things. I can't necessarily like draw and paint, but if I'm putting an event together and, I'm pretty creative at that stuff. And sometimes I'm like, man, I've never even thought, why didn't I think of that? It's so simple, but it's just fun to connect with people like that.
Yeah. So if somebody wants to get in contact or come check out that venue, how can they do that?
Yeah, so you can email us. You can email me directly, Catherine@thewatergrove.com if you want info. You can also go to Facebook or Instagram and message us, and we'll get in contact with you there.
All right. Is there anything else you want to share or we want to talk about?
No, we just want everybody to connect, especially for this business and leadership conference that's coming up March 22nd and 23rd. It's only 2 days. In the morning from 10 to 12, and then in the evening at 7. So if you're a local business owner, it doesn't even eat up your whole day. Free to attend. You can come in, get some good tidbits, network with some people, have lunch on us, and then be able to finish up what you need to for the workday, and then come back at 7 and get whatever the second part of that session is. You will not be disappointed. It's a complete investment in your company, in your ministry, in your staffs. You're welcome to bring guests and people like that with you. You can register right now at alcc.org. You can also show up at the door, but we can't guarantee your lunch that way. So make sure you get registered at alcc.org.
Thank you so much for coming and hanging out today.
Yeah, it was great.
This is KHEA Radio 99.